All right. Hey guys, this is Tu. Welcome to the Fang Real Estate Show. We do this every Sunday at 11 a.m. Uh, really, the show is for the community and to just share information with all of us in terms of real estate investing in particular, but just investing in general as well and businesses. Um, Today, I have a very special guest joining us today. I'll introduce him in a little bit. But if you guys can, please do like, share, ask your questions because at the end of the show, we'll leave about 10, 20 minutes to answer any questions that you guys have. And do like, share this. If you're watching this on YouTube later, which I do post on YouTube, on our YouTube page. And you have questions, leave in the comments below, and we'll come back and answer those questions that you guys have. Um, yeah, let me see. I did all that. Okay. So, I just bring all the different experts and investors out on the fields, to bring them in, talk, let us know what they're up to, let us know what they're doing, some tips and tricks that, they could share with us, words of wisdom, knowledge, things like that to share and help our community out, especially in terms of real estate investing. So with that said, we'll get started. David, why don't you, introduce yourself and let us know uh, how and why you get started in real estate.
Hey, yeah, thanks for having me on too. So my name is David Yang. I am a real estate broker, real estate investor, and a private lender here in Minnesota. And a little bit of background about me. I started a while back, and I started in a weird situation. Um, when I first got into it, I first learned about house hacking. I know a lot of people hear about that, but that's really how I got started, and I got exposed to it while I was still in the military.
Yeah.
And I think most people have heard my story, so I'm not really going to repeat it too much. Just a bunch of guys got out in town, bought a place, and we rented it out to other people while we were there too. And that's kind of how I got started. And then, when I got out of the military, came back and I just kept on going with it. But then branched out into doing all these different things. So, throughout
Yeah.
the years, it's always been trying to learn as much new strategies about real estate investing as possible to kind of, help me get me to where I want to go. So.
Yeah. I don't know if you know this, but you're actually one of the first guy that got me started uh really seriously investing in real estate. So I
Okay.
want to say thank you for that, man. I think I first met you, I think on Bigger Pockets when I first just moved to St. Paul. And
Yeah, I remember that.
yeah. And so I was looking for like other among investors around St. Paul, and then I saw you on there. I
Hmm.
messaged out. At that time, I was like brand new. Um, I know that my family has been investing. My older brothers in there has been investing for a while, but and I'm always like, oh, I'll get started, I'll get started. But when I message you, I don't even know if you know this, but when I messaged you, I was like, damn, this guy looks younger than me, and he's like, he's a pro already. What am I doing, dude? I gotta catch up. So that's when I reached out to you. And
I think when we first met, you were like doing photography, weren't you? Or
yeah,
real
yeah,
estate
yeah,
photography?
yeah. My buddy and I in San Diego, we started a photography company. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I was doing photography, which I'm not doing much anymore, but because I'm too busy with the real estate stuff. But my buddy's still doing it down there. Yeah, yeah, I
Okay.
started with photography, um, and yeah, and so you really, I don't remember, I don't know if I told you this too, but you really kind of guide me with all the real estate stuff. Uh, and I remember I did a deal and my ARV was all messed up. But I sent you. I kind of told this on online a few times, but I sent the project to you. You
Uh-huh.
remember that?
No.
Okay, you look at
A
too
lot of
many
people, a lot of
deals.
people send me their deals, so I see too many. I don't remember all of them.
Oh, okay, okay, that's fine. But I sent it to you, and then you sent me the ARV back, and you're like, "All right,
Uh-huh.
it's worth this much," because you know the market better than I do. And I went ahead and did the deal anyways.
Uh-huh.
Um, I didn't make much money, but if I were to have been more conservative like you, I think I would have negotiated a better deal. Um,
Okay.
so
So
thank.
how far was off was I?
Uh, oh, you were on spot.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
I was off because I was
Okay.
like, yeah, I think I could do better than what David's saying. He's too conservative.
Okay.
but you're on spot,
Okay.
and so that just goes to the experience that you have. And I would recommend if you guys started out, get to know someone like David that can help you guys out and listen to them if it's your first deal.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I talked a little bit too much because
It's
you really
okay.
helped me out at the beginning there. So, all right. So, where were you in the military? Like, were you stationed? Were you stationed in like? Were you in San Diego?
Yeah, well, I was stationed in San Diego part of the time, but mainly I spent most of my time in Camp Pendleton, which is about north of San Diego, but south of LA. So it's like right in the middle between San Diego and LA. Um, yeah, so I mean, it's Southern California, beautiful weather all the
Okay.
time there, but real estate down there is very expensive though. Even
Yeah.
during, when the market crashed, it was still super expensive. Like my one bedroom apartment that I used to have down there it was a one bedroom apartment. It was in an okay area, but just a one bedroom, one bathroom. It had a one car garage, but it was like almost $1,600 a month, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So
My
even
brother's still down there. He's in the military, and I think his studio is like 1,600 a month.
Yeah, it's probably more expensive now because, like I said, that was the prices back when the market crashed. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, but then you moved back here to St. Paul, Minnesota.
Yep.
Were you
Hmm.
always here? Were like your family were up here, or?
Yeah, yeah. My family lived here. We're actually from my entire family is actually from Iowa, really, but we
Oh,
moved up here when I was like in middle school.
yeah.
Um, so we lived up here about half my life, and then I went and joined the military. Um, so after that, when I got out, I came back here because family's all here. So that's the reason
Oh,
why I
okay.
came back.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining the military and serving, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Appreciate it. Uh, Let me see. So, what does your portfolio look like now? I know you're doing a lot of stuff, but what's your portfolio looking like?
Yeah, so if you're talking in terms of just like my rental portfolio, it's not that big right now. I think we have maybe like 5 units, which just
Uh,
consists of duplexes and single families.
yeah,
Yeah, it like I said, right now the reason why I don't really focus too much on my portfolio is because I started a real estate brokerage called Home Sellers. You can see,
yeah,
and also I have a private lending company that I do as well. So there's a lot of things that I have my hands in. So
yeah,
my investment portfolio kind of runs by itself. We still look at deals, and if things come in that fits my criteria, we'll do them.
yeah,
We my portfolio used to be a lot bigger,
yeah,
but right now with all my other business ventures that I'm going into, I don't really have a lot of time. So we offloaded a bunch of properties as well.
yeah,
And in there, we've done multiple things. Like I said, single family, commercial, syndications,
yeah.
different things like that. So, but
So
yeah,
you,
right now, mhm. Go ahead.
yeah, so you're a real estate agent. You just created your brokerage company, Home Sellers, right?
Yep.
You're also an insurance agent, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't go out there and promote and sell and all that
Yeah,
stuff. I do have my property casualty license.
yeah.
And it's just a add-on service to my real estate clients.
Okay.
If they're in the process of purchasing a home or purchasing a flip property or something, and they need like a quick insurance quote or a policy written
Yeah,
or something. That's the reason why I got it.
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if people want me to, I can, but that's not, I don't count that as one of my major business lines. So.
And then you're also, of course, a hard money lender. So, what I see is that a lot of all like your businesses and venture are like symbiotic, right? Like they're kind of in the same sphere or in industry. So I think that's great. Can we talk maybe a little bit about your first deal, and that way we can kind of see where you got started? You got a bunch of money, right, laying around, and
I
then
don't
you.
think so.
Oh, okay, so how did you get started?
So when I got started, you gotta remember I was in the military, so I was poor, and when I got back, I was even more poor because now I didn't have a job.
Uh huh.
But the one thing that I did have was I had my benefits, my VA benefits,
Uh
and
huh.
part of those VA benefits are the VA home loan. Okay. Now a lot of people they think that VA home loans are for people to purchase owner-occupied homes to live in, which is true. That's what it's there for.
Yeah.
But they allow you to purchase different types of properties. So
Okay.
a residential property is anywhere from a 4-unit to a 1-unit home.
Yeah.
So as long as you purchase it and you plan to own or occupy it, meaning you plan to actually live in there, you can purchase it. So you can purchase a 4-unit property, live in 1 unit and rent out the other. So essentially that's what I did when I came back. Again, like I said, I had no money, or I had very little money. So what I did was, it's nothing too crazy. I just called up an agent
Yeah.
and went to go look at some properties, and then I found a duplex. And I knew that I wanted a duplex because, again, from my experience back when I was in the military, when I got exposed to that style of investing, the house hacking.
House hacking. Yeah.
Yeah. So I knew that that's what I wanted to do because, it kind of opens your eyes to say, hey, you can actually live in a property for free,
Yeah.
so or with really, really reduced costs from you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what I did. I found a property. It was in St. Paul. It's a side-by-side duplex. It was a newer built duplex. I think it was built in like 200003.
Yeah.
I
Well,
still
that's really
have in
new.
my I still have in my portfolio to this day because the
Uh-huh.
terms are so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I purchased it. And the good thing about the VA loan is it's very little money out of your pocket. I actually made money purchasing that property.
Wait,
Um,
what?
yeah,
What? Wait, how
yeah.
do you make money purchasing a
So at
property?
the closing table, I actually walked away with like $3,000, I think, for buying that property. So the thing with that property was, it was on the market for a while,
Yeah.
and I think when I bought it, it didn't have a garage, and I think that was the reason why
Uh-huh.
that it was on the market for a while. But it was during like the winter market as well, so obviously it was slow too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so I purchased the property. I believe I purchased for like 200,000.
Uh-huh.
So it was 200,000 flat. Well, actually, it was 215, and then we talked them down to 200,000. And then also we got them to agree to 3% seller contribution. So
Uh-huh.
with the seller helping to pay for the closing costs, so that took care of the closing costs.
Yeah.
And then I used my VA loan, which is 0% down. So
Yeah.
technically, I had no money out of pocket already.
Mm-hmm.
But since I purchased the property and it was a duplex, it had tenants in there already. The good thing is when you purchase a multifamily property like that, when you close, the rents that were collected are prorated and
Yeah.
paid to you, as well as the security deposit.
Yeah.
So from day one, you cash flow. So
Oh.
that's what I did. So that's why
Yeah.
0% down, no money down. Plus the sellers are taking care of all the closing costs, and
Yeah.
then at closing, the seller brought a check for the prorated rent and the security deposit, and I walked away with money at closing.
Oh, yeah, that's a really, if I have a deal like that, I'll do real estate forever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that was great. I did another one too, using my
Oh,
VA again. You can have
yeah.
multiple VA loans out there.
Oh
Uh,
man.
yeah. So I have two of them like that, and like I said, the interest rates are ultra low. They're
Yeah.
like just a little bit over 3%.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so that one I make right now. I make about like about 20, a little over 2,500 in gross rents,
Yeah.
and then my
Yeah.
mortgage is only like $890.
Oh,
Um, so I
damn,
cash
dude.
so I cash flow like after all expenses and everything. I cash flow roughly around like maybe 1,400 bucks.
Oh,
Uh,
okay. Yeah. Yeah. Well,
so
that's really
yeah.
good.
Mhm.
Of course, VA loan, you gotta be a military personnel. How did you call like how does the process start? Like if you want to do a VA loan and you do have the benefits, how
Yeah,
does it
it's
start?
simple. It's very simple. It's the same as any other loan program. All you do is if you are a veteran, or if you are a person that's eligible to get a VA loan, You just talk to the lender. The lender pretty much does all the work. You know, for you, all you might be required is to have your documentation from the military, just proving your service or
Uh-huh.
proving that you're eligible. But the lender really does everything else. I mean, if you wanted to, if you're a veteran yourself and you wanted to see if you're eligible, you can actually contact the VA and have them give you they call it a COE, certificate of eligibility.
Uh-huh.
And that'll tell you how much entitlement, that's what they call it, entitlement,
Yeah.
entitlement that you have, so
Yeah.
it goes from like 0 to 100%. So if
Yeah.
you use 100% of your entitlement, then you can't use any more VA loans at that time until it frees up.
Yeah. Well, any military personnel out there that are eligible, I think you guys should take advantage of it. I know we talked about this in another show with another veteran before, but you guys really should take advantage of it. Now, you're not, if you're not in the military or a veteran, you can still do the same thing to what David is saying with the FHA, loan, which is about 3.5% down. So
Yep.
you can
Yeah,
get
like
into a project like that.
one
Yeah.
thing I want to tell people is people are always saying that, oh, you're in the military, that's why you got that VA loan, and yeah, I mean, that's true, but I just used what was available to me, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
If that wasn't available to me, I would just try to find a different way to do it. It was just that, hey, it's there, so you might as
Yeah.
well do it. Like I tell people, you can essentially do that. There's other types of zero down payment loans out there too.
Yeah.
There's USDA, there's FHA, if you can combine it with other like down payment assistance programs and things like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So there's multiple ways to do it. That's just the way that I chose to do it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, since there are multiple ways, that's sort of the topic that I wanted us to talk about today, right? We're going to talk about three different creative strategies or financing strategies to buy real estate, especially with all this uncertainty that's in the market right now due to the coronavirus. And maybe we're going to have, most likely we're going to have a market downturn or market crash in real estate too, right?
well, they call it
So
correction,
or
market
correction.
correction.
So we're gonna have correction coming up, and how you should use these strategies to help yourself and benefit, profit, invest. Help other people out too that might be in trouble because of this market downturn or correction. Um, so can you let us know the different ways? I mean, we're gonna talk about three different strategies now. Do you want to outline one of them?
Yeah, so I think the three that I want to hit on are ones that I'm pretty familiar with.
Yeah.
So the first one that I really want to talk about is using hard money.
Uh-huh.
I'm not sure if a lot of people understand what that is, but that's a way, another type of loan, but it's from a private lender instead of a regular retail mortgage lender.
Yeah.
A lot of investors like to use that because it's easy. It's more asset based.
Yeah.
So it's more based around the property or the deal that you're doing instead of you, the borrower. Okay, so it's geared more towards real estate investors.
Okay.
The other ones I'm going to talk about too are subject to. I did a video or a meeting on it a few weeks ago about it. And then also, lease options. So I think
Yeah.
those three are probably the ones that I want to talk about today.
Okay.
But we can start off wherever you want to start off.
Okay. Let's start with the lease option. Can you explain what lease option is? And
Yeah, so
yeah.
lease option, it's just that. So in layman's terms, it's own. When
Yeah.
you hear people say they want to buy a property rent to own, that's what a lease option is. In real
Yeah.
estate terms, it's lease option.
Okay.
There's a few ways to do it, but the reason why a lease option is good is because it's a type of seller financing.
Yeah.
So say example, you're not qualified to go to the bank and get a loan and all that stuff. Lease option might be a good way for you to get into a property, potentially with little or no money down.
Yeah.
It really depends on how you and the seller agree to the terms. But what lease option is if you just break those two words down.
Yeah.
It's a lease, meaning that you're going to be renting the property with the option to purchase it at a later date with a specific set of terms. So price, length of the term, the option fee. The option
Right.
fee is pretty much, how much money are you willing to put down for them to hold it for you to purchase at
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
that price.
Yeah, I've done a few lease options, and I love lease. I've been on both sides of the lease option,
Uh-huh.
right? So
Yep.
yeah, you could be a leasee or a leaseor,
Mm-hmm.
which means you could lease to purchase it, or you could be the owner and lease option your property out, rent
Yep.
to own. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a bunch of different benefits as long as you create a win-win situation for both parties.
Yep.
It's great. And
Mm-hmm.
with this economic correction that we're gonna have, a lot of people might not be able to sell their homes, right? So lease option might be the best way for them to sell it, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Another thing I tell people too is, with these creative financing options, maybe it might not even be due to the economic downturn.
Yeah.
It might be due to their strategy. It might not allow them to sell it at this point. So
Yeah.
take example, like if they're ready to retire, right? If the seller is ready to retire, they want to sell the property. But let's say their basis is zero, meaning that whatever, if they've owned it for so long, it's free and clear. Their basis is zero, meaning that when they sell it, the entire profit that they make is going to be counted against them in taxes.
Yeah.
Then that lease option might be a very good deal for them, because
Yeah.
what that does is it delays them having to pay taxes on it until the actual sale of the property. Now, I'm not a tax professional, so you have to double check with a tax person. Just from my understanding, that's what it is, and that's been my experience.
Yeah.
So it's a great way for the seller, for you to help the seller, get around their tax situation, or at least delay until they can figure out a way to shelter their taxes. So
Yeah.
that's a good selling point for you as an investor to a seller.
Yep, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to caution for lease option if you're looking to for a lease option. I know when I was advertising mine, I got a bunch of calls from like third parties that they get my lease option information and they
Mm-hmm.
try to sell it to other people and charge them money. And so if you're looking for lease option, just be careful where you search. You should not be paying people to give you these listings unless the company is very reputable. So
Yeah,
just be
yeah.
careful when
One
you
thing
search.
I would add to that too is, most companies out there that advertise that they help people buy rent to own, like they help people, the clients, or the
Yeah,
person the person looking to buy a rent to own. Most of those, I would say like 90% of those are junk.
yeah, yeah,
The best time when real lease options happen is when it's owner to own, or yeah, owner to owner, you know.
yep, yeah,
That's the times I see that the actual real lease options actually happen. I don't even know any companies out there that are actually, helping people do lease options. I hear about it all the time too, but yeah, I haven't met one that is actually
oh,
legit.
yeah, yeah. I haven't either. Maybe you're gonna start one, David.
No.
I might maybe in the future if I have more inventories.
Hmm.
Okay, let's go to other strategy that you could use. Subject to. I know you did
Hmm.
you do like a monthly meeting, a meetup group,
Yep.
and I think you talked about this at the last meetup group. But what's subject to?
So subject to is pretty much, it's another form of seller financing.
Hmm.
But in this, what subject to means is you're purchasing a property. Subject to is its existing financing. So, say example, if a seller has a home
Yeah,
and they have a loan on it, what you're doing is you're taking the title to that property, but you're leaving the loan in place, and you're essentially just paying the loan on behalf of them. Now people get that confused with taking over the mortgage. You're not taking over the mortgage, so you don't replace them on the mortgage.
yeah,
You replace them on the title, on the deed. Okay.
yeah,
So the loan stays in their name.
yeah,
It's good for you because it doesn't use any of your credit.
yeah,
So again, if you can't loan because of, you're an investor, you have your finances all over the place, you can't get a loan. It's a good option for you because, like, again, it doesn't use any of your credit. And then on the
yeah,
flip side of that, it keeps your DTI low,
yeah,
so it doesn't show up, it doesn't count against your debt to income. So if you wanted to go get another loan from somewhere else, you could, while still having that property as well.
yeah, yeah,
Another benefit is, So say example, a lot of people use subject to because sometimes the loans that are in place have very good terms already. So
Yeah.
maybe they have low interest rates, things like that, and that'll help you cash flow a lot. So, it'd be advantageous for you to keep that loan there. So that's essentially what a subject to is.
Do you have a quick example? Maybe you could discuss quickly about what a deal that you've done that's subject to.
Yeah, yeah. So, I did one in St. Paul. I do most of my deals in St. Paul.
Uh-huh.
But I did one in St. Paul. It's a single family home. And when I purchased it, so the story behind it was this elderly couple, they were living there.
Mm-hmm.
The husband had just had a stroke, so he couldn't take care of the property. They didn't have any kids living with them, and they wanted to get out of the property and go live with their kids across town. But they couldn't do that because they still had the house.
Yeah.
And then people always ask, how come they just didn't put it on the market to sell? Well, they had other issues. I think they are on some type of government assistance. I wasn't sure, but that prevented them from selling it, because if they sold it and they got, a big chunk of profit, they would have had to report that and lose their benefits. So they didn't want to do that as well.
Yeah.
Um,
If you're on a lot of the government assistance program, let's say you make $100,000 profit,
yep.
they want you to use that $100,000 before they give you the benefits again.
Yep. And
So
there's no
yeah,
hiding it too. There's no hiding
yeah,
it because the title company will report that.
yeah,
so
yeah. Okay,
so
so
it is. So, yeah.
yeah, so they have issues with, they sell, they're gonna lose the benefits anyway. So it's difficult for them to sell. So
Oh
what?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. And like I said, they couldn't take care of the property, so they couldn't stay there for long. But
yeah.
the good thing was they were current on their mortgage. So,
Uh-huh.
they weren't behind, they weren't in foreclosure or anything like that. They had actually talked to a real estate agent before me,
Yeah.
and they told the agent their story, and the agent's advice to them was just to stop paying for the house and let it go to foreclosure and let the bank take it back. You know, and so
What kind of agencies?
yeah, I was like, I don't know who that was, but I was like, that's the most worst advice ever.
Yeah,
Um, so when I went to talk to them, I proposed for us to do a subject too, because they were still current on their mortgage.
yeah,
They didn't owe that much. I think at the time they owed like, right, I believe probably like around 98 or 97 grand or something
yeah,
like that, close to 100 grand there. But the ARV was actually like 187 or 185 to like 189.
yeah,
So almost 190.
yeah,
So there was roughly almost like 100K of equity in there. So I was like, yeah, there was a lot of equity in there.
yeah,
But yeah, I proposed that to them. They agreed to it because their circumstances wouldn't let them do anything else.
yeah,
And I was able to identify that subject to was the perfect type of financing for that property, just
yeah,
by talking to them, because you need to have strong motivation for subject to work, because
yeah,
if there's no motivation in there, the sellers won't agree to it. I mean, any seller, if you go up to them and say, hey, let me take the deed from you and keep the mortgage in your name, they're going to look at you like you're crazy. So there has to be motivation in there.
yeah,
And there has to be goodwill as well. So they have
yeah,
to trust you. They have to trust you that you're going to be making those payments on time, which you should be.
yeah,
So I was able to talk to them, get their information, get their side of the story, and put together the deal. So yeah, I didn't have to give them any money,
yeah.
but I did give them like $3,000,
Okay, yeah.
just because I felt bad for them, but I didn't even have to give them the 3,000. It was my business partner that came up with that.
Oh, you got
So
a partner involved too. Wow.
yeah, well, it's kind of like just a money partner, so he wasn't involved in the deal or anything
Oh,
like that.
okay.
I paid him
Yeah.
15%, so he made about like $500 off that
But,
deal
but
as well.
15%, man, that's good returns.
That is
What,
a good
what's
return.
what's the stock market doing right now? I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Stock market is crashing.
I know a couple of our stock market buddies are watching. So
Yep, yep, yep. So out of pocket, that was zero money out of
yeah.
pocket. You know,
Well, if you
um,
guys want to make 15%, being David's partner, reach out to
yeah,
him.
yeah.
So
But yeah. So that property was great. Like I said, it took maybe about 3 to 4 days
Uh-huh.
total deal for the deal to happen. So I saw it on Monday, Tuesday, went to talk to them. Then Wednesday, got all the documents signed, closed everything. And again, like I said, it was zero money out of pocket. And then I just cleaned it up. It probably took less than like $200 to get the place cleaned up. And then the following Monday, I rented it out for like, I think over like about 1480.
Yeah.
So it's a 4 bedroom, 2 bathroom, 2 car garage home.
Damn.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I gained around like 80 grand of equity and cash flow like $500 within a
Damn.
week.
On like pretty much not even 3,000 because you got a partner there,
Yeah, it was
but
zero. It
on a
was zero.
zero
So
down.
my
Yeah.
my return was actually infinite
Yeah.
because I didn't
Damn.
have any money into the deal. So
Oh, do you still have that property?
I still have that property. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
Hmm.
wow, that's really good.
Yep. Hmm.
Yeah, so you guys, with this, I know a couple of investor buddies of ours that has been doing this for a while, and during the last
Hmm.
down cycle in 2008, they done a bunch of subject to deals, and they still own
Hmm.
the properties to this day. So
Oh yeah.
it can't, yeah, it can be done. You just got to find the right people. I do want to caution that there are some risks to subject to,
Hmm.
such as like do on sell clause, or what happens if you don't pay payment, mortgage, things like that. So if you're brand new, um, contact a mentor or like David, or do more research on it. Make sure you know all the risk involved. But yeah, it's a really great strategy. So
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, what about the third thing, which you're an expert on it because you have a whole business around this hard money lending. So what's that strategy and how can we use that?
Yep. So again, hard money lending, it's a form of private lending. It's similar to taking out a regular loan on a home,
Uh-huh.
except most of the times for a hard money loan, you're going to be taking out a loan on a home and taking out money to purchase to actually rehab the home, fix it up,
Yeah.
and then at the end, you're going to either try to sell it or refinance it. That's really what it is. It's not really made for people to buy homes to live in. It's more of a business type loan. Okay. That's really
Yeah.
what a hard money loan is for. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of people, they kind of get it. They kind of don't really understand the urgency of the loan. So hard money loans, they're a lot more expensive because they're a lot more risky to the lender.
Yeah.
They're really based on the property itself and not on the person. So the lender is hoping that you are going to actually get the deal done, get the property sold or refinanced so they can get their money back.
Yeah.
You know,
So
so
why so hard money lender or loan is just a loan. So why not just go to a bank and get a regular loan?
because again, the banks, they're not looking to find people, or they're not looking to do loans for people to fix up properties to sell. Because again, when you decide that you want to fix up a property and sell it, you're actually going into a business, into a
Yeah.
flipping business.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
But again, the flipping is not the scary part to the bank. It's the business part, because
Yeah.
banks, they know that all businesses, or like I believe it's like 85% of businesses fail, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So since you turn that into a business, you turn that house or that property into a business, they know it has a high chance of failure. And a lot of them do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so banks don't like that. Banks like nice, steady, predictable cash flow,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like in their residential mortgages. So that's the reason why banks won't lend to you. Now, there are some loan products from banks that will allow you to do that, but again, still, it's very difficult to get those loans.
Yeah.
And it won't be good for you as a real estate investor to use those, because they're very difficult. They have a high chance of not going through. They take too long. As a
Yeah.
real estate investor, the reason why you want to use a hard money loan is, one, because of the speed. Okay,
Yeah.
hard money loans, depending on the lender, they can get it done in as little as same day. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
as opposed to a bank, the fastest bank I've seen that can do a rehab loan is probably like 31 days.
Oh gosh, I never see that. I done I done a rehab loan with banks. It, we had to extend the closing time
Yep.
twice. So
Hmm.
all
Hmm.
right,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, speed, for real estate investors, speed is the name of the game.
Yeah,
Um, that's the reason why I think hard money loans are the best for real estate investor. Plus also, banks, they want you to have a lot of experience because
yeah,
again, you're going to be in the business of flipping houses.
yeah,
A hard money lender, depending on the lender and their criteria, generally they work really good for new investors. So if you're
yeah,
new investors, you don't have a lot of money, you don't have a lot of experience,
yeah,
hard money loans are a very good way for you to get started. The thing is, make sure you understand all the terms that are in the hard money loan, okay,
yeah.
and how to use them.
So
Um,
how would a typical like investor, let's say they're new, how would they how would you advise them to use hard money lending?
yeah. So the main thing that I tell people when they're wanting to use hard money is find the best deal. Don't find a good deal. Don't find an okay deal. You
Yeah,
got to find the best deal. Okay.
yeah,
Not saying that the okay and the good deals won't work. They'll work, but the your profit margin will probably be a lot slimmer,
mm-hmm,
and your margin for error will be very very small. So one miscalculated rehab can cost you a few $1,000s, can put you over budget, you can lose money. So the main thing I tell people is, make sure you find a great deal. And the other thing is speed of the rehab, speed of the deal.
yeah,
So don't linger, don't push it off. The day you close, an hour of that you should be at the property working already.
yeah,
Because most hard money lenders, they calculate interest per day.
yeah.
So just think about it, every day you're losing money. So you want to get in there, get it done, and get it sold or refinance ASAP. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I did some, and maybe there's just a different idea or philosophy.
Hmm.
But based on my calculation, I'd rather even hire people to come and help me do the rehab. I mean, you should anyways, but you should. Or when I do my rehabs, I use hard money lending too. So
Hmm.
when I do my rehabs, I try to get as many workers in the space as much as possible, you know,
Hmm.
to get everything done as quickly as possible. Versus like if I just were to do it myself, it's gonna take me 6 months. But technically I'm only in there for like 2 weeks if you count the
Yeah.
time, right? That you go in
Yep.
and out. Yeah,
Yeah, I would say, when you're using hard money, and you're getting bids from your contractors,
yeah,
time is more important than cost.
yeah,
Personally, that's what I think. I mean, you should take a little bit look at the cost, but time is more important because, a lot of new investors, they fall into that trap.
yeah,
They think that when they start doing flipping, they think that they're the contractor. No, they're not the contractor. They're the investor. That's the
yeah,
job they should be doing.
yeah,
Leave the rehabbing to the professional, which is the contractor.
yeah.
I had that problem too when I first started.
I think
There
we
was
all
one
do.
one yeah, one of my deals I remember. It was in Minneapolis. It was a house that I was doing. I think it was actually my first deal.
Yeah,
And there, like, I got the quote, and the difference between my deal here is it was a cash deal, so it wasn't a
yeah,
hard money deal.
yeah,
But the story, the lesson is still the same. I
yeah,
had I had to paint the house. The house needed to
uh-huh,
be painted. The interior paint needed to be done. Whole
yeah,
entire house. And I got a bid from a painter. I think it was like $2,100
yeah,
for 1,500 square foot.
yeah,
Um, it was like two quotes, and they were gonna do trim and everything like that, and it
yeah.
was gonna take like 2 days to do. But I
Trim
was like
takes
twenty one hundred
longest.
dollars. I
Yeah.
was like, for me at that time, I was like, man, that's so expensive. I'm like, I could do it. I could go buy a bucket of paint and do it myself, for cheaper.
Yeah.
So after I did it, I decided to do it myself, and it took me 2 weeks to do it. I
Yeah,
lost
yeah,
2 weeks.
yeah,
After that, I was like, yep, I'm just gonna pay 21. After I look at $2,100 for 1,500 square foot, two coats of paint. I
yeah,
was like, that's a good deal. you know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The
Yeah.
trims takes a lot of time, all
Oh
the
yeah.
detail work, but
Oh yeah. The prep and
you,
everything.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Mm.
well, that's good. That's a good lesson, and that's a good advice to new investors.
Yeah.
Obviously, you don't want to overspend and find the best bid that you can,
Mm-hmm.
but try not to do everything yourself because every day that passes, you're losing money, especially if
Oh
you
yeah.
use a hard money lender. Um,
Yep.
I see hard money lenders as partners to me,
Hmm.
actually. Um, and one of the ways I use them, or you guys, is that how do you know if, well, you have to learn how to find a good deal, right?
Yep.
But how I see it, and I say this a bunch of times before, is that if you send it to a hard money lender and they don't fund your deal, that means it's not a good deal. Is that accurate assessment?
No, I wouldn't say yeah, it's not accurate, Just
Okay,
because
I
they don't
use,
fund it
yeah.
doesn't mean it's not a good deal. It might be a good deal. Maybe the hard
Yeah.
money lender doesn't know.
Oh, yeah.
Um, so, I would say just use them as like a second
A
second
second
set of
opinion.
eyes,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah,
Yeah, that way, just to check it. I mean, obviously, if it's like me,
yeah,
if I tell you it's not gonna be good, it's probably not gonna be good. But like I said, there's lenders are kind of like real estate investors. Anybody can just up and be a hard money lender,
yeah, yeah,
whenever they want to be. So you want to find one that's really reputable.
yeah,
But going back to that, yeah, if you send your deal to a lot of hard money lenders and all of them turn you down, then your deal is probably not that great.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
so that's why I always tell people, when you look at a deal, always look at it as you or the lender, as you are putting your own money into it.
yeah,
Would
yeah,
you want to fund somebody else if they came to you with that exact same deal?
yeah,
Because when us as real estate investors, when we go to lenders, our vision is kind of clouded. It's kind of clouded with love because we love the
yeah,
deal.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course.
Because we've been studying so hard, we've been listening to all these gurus, and we finally found a deal, and it looks okay.
Yeah,
So we're in love with the deal.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
but the hard money lender, they're going to take an objective look at it. They're going to look
yeah,
at it and say, hey, is this going to work? Are you going to be able to sell it? Are you going to be able to do whatever your exit strategy is at the end?
yeah, yeah,
And again, like I said, it might work. The deal might work. You might have to bring more money. The profit might be more slim, but just because they say that it's like that doesn't mean that it's a bad
yeah.
deal.
Well,
Personally,
yeah,
I would.
yeah, yeah. I use you guys really as a second opinion to a lot
Mm-hmm.
of my deals, right? So, because especially like you, and your team over there, you guys are investors yourself.
Yep.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you know what we're thinking. What do you guys typically look for to kind of know that's a good deal? Like what are sort of your main criteria that you look for?
Yeah, so it's very simple. There we have a lot of little criteria that we look into, but the main thing is how much is your purchase and your rehab compared to the ARV and the percentage that we're lending.
Yeah,
So generally, like I said, most hard money lenders, they'll lend up to a certain percentage of the ARV, which is the after repair value, or
uh-huh.
in layman's terms, how much is it going to be worth after you're done fixing it up.
Yeah,
So say example, if a house is after it's all fixed up, ready to go, put on the market, if it's worth $100,000, generally we'll lend up to like 65% of that. Some people are a lot higher. Some other lenders will go up to like 80%.
uh-huh.
But us, we're at 65%. So I would tell real estate investors that if you come to me, try to get everything under 65%. And when I say everything, I mean like the purchase price, the rehab, the fees, if you want to include the fees, anything like
Hmm.
that. If you can get that all under 65%, that's a great deal. Okay,
Yeah.
that is a super stellar, awesome deal. Okay.
Hmm.
These days, well, a month or two or
One
three
month.
months ago, it's hard to find those type of deals.
Yeah.
Going forward, I think there's going to be more, but yeah, the lower amount you can get to fit under that percentage, the better. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I think going forward, there's gonna be deals to be had, and I think if you're brand new and starting out, I would recommend reach out to hard money lenders and get to know what their criteria are, and like David hold like monthly meetup sessions, so go to attend those. I mean, right now it's virtual, right?
Yep.
But go to those and get to know all the hard money lenders out there, because if there's deals in the future, you want them as your partners. or I see them as my partners to purchase these deals. The reason I see you guys as partners is because let's say I have 100,000, or in this case, $65,000 to buy that deal, right? So I could use the whole 65,000, um, or if I partner up with you guys, I could probably do like two or three of these the same deal. I mean, two or three deals with the same amount of money, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's leveraging. It's leveraging. That's all you're doing.
Yeah, yeah. So that's why I see you guys as partners. Do you
Mm.
have an example that you guys had done or any deals you guys funded? Just so we could kind of go through one of the details of a deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
There was a townhome that we actually did in St.
Townhome.
Paul.
Oh, yeah,
I can't
yeah.
remember how long ago. I think it was like either a year ago or 2 years ago. I can't remember off the top of my head. But the numbers were really, really good.
Yeah.
So the lady that the real estate investor that we were working with, she bought it for she bought it for, let me see what the purchase price here. So she bought it for here you go. She bought it for 116,000. That was the purchase price. Okay.
116.
Yep, yep.
Okay.
And then closing costs were around like 6,500, and repairs around like 2,100.
Uh-huh.
Oh no, sorry, repairs around 20,000
Yeah.
for it. And then she she had to hold on to it, and rehab it. Took about, holding costs were around like $7,400.
Uh-huh.
And at the end, she sold it for 186,000, and she
Uh-huh.
profited like 25 grand.
25.
Um, yeah, and the reason why I bring that one up is because her numbers were great.
Yeah.
Um, she purchased it way under the our at that time we gave her 70%
Yeah.
for the loan to value. And generally, depending on your situation, we can increase those loan to value percentages depending
Uh-huh.
on, if you have different assets you can put as collateral,
Yeah.
or we have previous relationships with you.
Okay.
But yeah, we gave her 70%, so she was able to roll in the purchase price, the repairs, some of the holding costs, and sell. So technically, she had no money out of her pocket in
Yeah.
the deal, and those are the types of deals that we like to fund. Those are like types of deal that I like to do when I do flips.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because whenever I use hard money lenders, my goal is to not use any of my own money. And
Yeah.
that's really what everybody's goal should be, is to not use any of your own money. And to do that, it's not by getting the lender to decrease their points or anything. It's to find the deal that actually fits with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what she did. I told her our criteria. She went out and she found a deal that matches all of our criteria, and
Yeah.
she was able to do it zero money out of pocket.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the best way that I think to use hard money. A
Yeah,
lot of people don't
because
understand that.
the purchase price is 116. You guys gave her probably around like 130 ish.
No, the
Uh,
loan amount. Let's see. The loan amount was 143.
well, 143. Oh yeah,
Yes, we gave it quite
that's
a
even
bit more.
more.
We rolled in like some of her fees and
Yeah.
all those things into it as well.
Oh, okay. And
Yeah.
then yeah, but mainly it's because she got it for 116.
Yeah.
And then after all the repairs. Wow,
Yep.
that's interesting. I was scared of townhomes because I don't know if I could rehab because don't you connect with? I mean, maybe I should ask her this.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
No, townhomes. You can do townhomes. This is the first one we actually did for hard money as well.
oh yeah,
I was kind of worried about that too, but there was, the good thing about townhomes is you don't have to, generally, depending on the townhome, you don't have to take care of the outside.
oh yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
so
You're
her,
right.
and it was small. Her rehab was only let me see here.
20.
Her rehab was like 20 grand.
Yeah, yeah,
So it was very small. On the inside.
yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, so she just fixed up the inside. Usually you can, for townhomes, you can fix up the inside however you want it. It's just the outside where they're kind of really sticky, depending on the
Oh,
association. Yeah.
oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Mhm.
Maybe I'll start. I know of a few friends that I know one of the guys he want to get rid of like 3 of his townhomes because
Mm-hmm.
he does multifamily, and those 3 townhomes came as a package that he bought, but
Oh, okay.
he doesn't really want it. So
Okay.
maybe I pursue him. Um, yeah, so essentially she made 20K from just finding the deal and doing the work
Mm-hmm.
and not really putting any money into the deal.
Yep.
Using hard money lender. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep.
Um, yeah, so I think these type of deals are going to be coming up in the future, and I think you guys should use these strategies to purchase these deals. So what did you, as a lender, what did you learn from such deals like this? Maybe this one particular, or any deals that you guys that you could kind of share with us as investors.
From the lender's perspective, these good deals, you don't really learn too much from the good deals. It's always the bad deals that you learn the
Oh,
most from. You know.
okay.
So this one, I mean, I knew when I looked at the numbers, I knew that was going to be good. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
We had a little bit concerned just because this is the first townhome that we did.
Uh-huh.
But once everything got going, once we started doing the draws and everything like that, then I knew that it was going to turn out good. So.
Okay. Cool. I think we're sort of at the hour already. I know we could talk about this forever, but
Mm-hmm.
if you guys are just joining us, if you have any questions, leave in the comment section right now, and we're opening up to answer questions that you guys might have. But before we go there, so the 3 strategies. Let me see. What would they give? What Okay, 3 strategies. Least options, you guys could use that. Subject twos, and hard money, right? So do you have any last words about these strategies in general? And then I'm gonna open it up for questions.
Yeah. So the 3 strategies, what I tell people is, understand them and understand the other different types of strategies, and all of them, they're so people get them confused with flipping and rentals. These strategies that we're talking about today are types of financing. Okay. So how
Hmm.
are you going to finance the property? That's really what these are. Okay. How you use them is going to really be dependent on the deal itself.
Yeah,
So the main thing for you as a real estate investor is you need to know how to identify what kind of deal works with the right type of financing.
yeah, yeah. That's true. As investors, we should find we're kind of matching those, right?
Yep.
Deals with the correct financing,
Hmm.
and you should know as many strategies as you can so that you could fit as many strategies to a deal as you can.
Yep.
Okay, so I'll ask you. Some people left some questions on the comments, so I'll ask you some of those questions. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. Let me see. Patria Lee asks, David, can you share with, or I guess me too, but can you share with us one of your experience in a downturn market? Which property did you buy, and what strategy? What area did you buy in? So I guess did you go through any downturns yet?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay. Yeah.
my first one was in the downturn.
Oh, oh
Yeah.
yeah.
So I mean, in a downturn is a great time for it's bad if you were investing before the downturn, you know.
Yeah,
But during the downturn, it's deals are everywhere,
yeah,
But the main thing, again, I tell people this too: just because deals are everywhere doesn't mean that everything is a deal. So
yeah,
a lot of people that say that they're waiting for the crash to happen, if they're not preparing themselves now to understand what a good deal is, how to finance a good deal, even when there's a lot of good deals out there, they're still not going to know how to do anything with
yeah.
them.
Okay.
Hmm.
Do, oh, which property did you buy? You bought you did a VA loan for that one, for
Yeah,
the
yeah, the duplex.
duplex.
Yep. Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
And then what area did you buy in?
I was in St. Paul, Minnesota.
Okay. Okay. Patricia, hopefully that answered your questions. If you have more questions, you could reach out to us, and we'll try to answer your questions. Like I said earlier, I did have a lot of older investor friends that they invest during the downturn, and they got a lot of subject to deals that were going on because um, at, at that time, so they bought it from other investors. So these are they call vulture investors, which it's kind of a bad name, but these
Mm-hmm.
bigger investor group they come and buy like whole areas or a bunch of properties, but they can't manage them, so they sell it to smaller investors,
Yeah.
and they do a subject too because they want to hold on to that note. because that's how they make money. So I know that a couple of older friends, they were telling me about that, that they still own like these subject to properties to all these other investors. It's a type of seller financing, right? Um, let me see. Man, I wish I could start over again with my VA loan. Uh, wait, can you? I thought can't you sell your house and then do a VA loan again?
Yep, yep. So you can, if you have a VA loan already, if you want all the entitlement back, then you can just sell that property. All your entitlement returns to you. Now you can purchase another one. But even though he has a property, he could probably still buy another house with the VA loan while he has the other one too. Okay. He
Oh,
just has to check
oh,
how much entitlement he has left.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So that's
Hey,
pretty much what it is.
hey, Songdo, maybe reach out to the VA office around your area. They could help you out with that.
Mhm.
Or if David, if you don't mind, maybe he could reach
Yeah.
out to you and
Yeah. I
okay.
specialize in VA in working with VA buyers. So,
Yeah,
any questions, just
yeah,
reach out to me.
yeah. I mean, David's a broker, so you guys and an agent that will help you guys out. So I'll reach out to him. Let me see. Kive as the leasee, what ways can you negotiate with lessor to make it favorable in your terms? So maybe as a leasing, what are some negotiation uh, tips that you could give?
So as the leasee,
Yeah,
so they're the buyer in the
yeah, they're
situation.
the buyer. Yep.
Yep. So if you're negotiating with them, it really depends, like I said, on the motivation of the seller.
Yep.
Um, if they're more motivated, the better the terms are gonna be. That's really what it comes down to. So the key I tell people is talk to them, find out what their problem is, and find a way to solve it.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the exact situations are, so I can't really speak to whatever they're talking about. But what I do is, again, I find out what the problem is, how to solve it, and if the lease option is the best way to do it,
Yeah.
then I would propose that to them. But again, the terms that we put in there, obviously, if you are the investor and the buyer, then you want to put terms in there that are better to you. So a lower option fee,
Yeah.
maybe a longer term,
Hmm.
um, something like that. That's what I would
Yeah.
do. Hmm.
Yeah. I did a lease option as a leasee for a fourplex, and when I negotiated, you had yeah, like what David was saying, you had to know what their motivation was or are, and so I knew the owner's motivation. They don't want to take care of the property, and they're kind of traveling a lot, so they want to be able to travel and not worry, right? So I just told them, hey, don't worry about anything, but I didn't want to give them a big option fee, so for a fourplex, my option fee was like 5 grand,
That's
and that was
good.
it. Yeah, and I got the security deposit from the owner
Hmm.
for the 4 units. So actually, at the end of it, it was like 1,500 because I get the security deposit back
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
stuff like that. So, but then I took care of everything, and I did that because I knew that the property was under rented, and the owner owned it for a long time, so they didn't raise rent. So I knew that if I just replaced the rent the tenant, I'll be doing fine, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, really key. You just have to find out what their motivations are. Let's see. Kive also asks. They said that subject to is risky and may default the loan. Is subject to better for flipping or keeping as a rental?
Yeah. So just when if in any type of real estate investment, they're all risky.
Yeah,
It's just how you manage the risk. So I think there's two parts to that question.
yeah,
So the first part, I think they're talking about the due on sale clause.
yeah,
Generally, banks don't call notes due unless you're doing something weird with like the title, or doing something where you're going to raise a red flag to them.
yeah,
Um, they're not going to send somebody to the house to knock on the door to check.
yeah,
Banks,
yeah,
lenders don't do that. And generally, how lenders look at it is, if they're getting their money every month, that's better than them foreclosing and turning that performing asset to a non-performing asset where they're going to have to spend, thousands upon thousands of dollars to get that property back. And when they get that property back, they're still not going to make any money on it,
Yeah.
So they rather keep it like that. And my entire time, I haven't seen any banks call a loan due because of subject to.
Yeah.
Not to say that it's not a possibility. They write it in there, so it's possible,
Yeah.
but I don't see a lot of them happening.
Yeah.
The second part of that question, what is better to use it with, the style of investing, that's really going to be up to your exit strategy is. And again, like I said, the subject to, that's just the financing piece. The flipping or the rental, that's your exit strategy that you need to figure out what you want to do with the property.
Yeah. I think it could be used for both. I would personally use it as a long-term rental.
Yep.
But yeah, like you said again, it depends on your strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He asks again, how fast is your motorcycle?
My motorcycle. Oh, so people when they ask me what my hobbies are, I don't have any hobbies. The only hobby that I used to have, I still like to do it, but I don't have a motorcycle anymore. But that's riding motorcycle. That's my hobby. I think the fastest I ever gone on it was I think like 120 miles per hour. I don't suggest anybody do that. That was stupid, but that's how fast I've gone.
Let's see. He asked, would you refinance a property after you're subject to?
Personally, I would not, because that doesn't make any sense to do that.
Yeah.
The reason why you're doing a subject to is to keep that financing in place. Okay. The only time that I would refinance it is if, say, example, if they did call the loan due and I wanted to still keep the property, then I would refinance it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if nothing's happening, I would just keep it the way it is until I wanted to sell it.
Yeah, right. That's a way out. If the lender calls the note due, you still have time. You could go and refinance it. Especially that deal that you're talking about, you have like 80 to 100K in equity there. You could easily refinance that.
Yeah. There's a lot of options. I could sell it and take the equity out, or I can refinance it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it doesn't matter. And foreclosures, they take a long time anyway. So
Yeah. Okay. I guess last questions. He said, where do you find these subject to and lease option forms?
So these forms are you can get them online anywhere.
Yeah.
But specifically for your state, you see, because real estate is really it's local law based. So check with your state to make sure the language that you put in there isn't going against any laws, either state or federal.
Yeah.
But it's very simple. All it is it's essentially a subject to is just a quick claim deed.
Yeah.
But what makes the subject to a subject to is the purchase agreement. It spells out in their purchase price what all the terms are going to be, and how you're purchasing it. So if you need those, go to biggerpockets.com. I think they have forms there. You can Google it. You can get it from an attorney. That's probably the more expensive way to go. You can get those forms all over the place. Or you can work with a good real estate agent that has done them before.
Yeah. Real estate agents at home sellers should have them, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So, contact a home seller agent, or like you said, David. I'm a pro member. I mean, you're a pro member on Bigger Pockets too. They have now some of these contracts on there that's state specific. So I use them as sort of the base point for my templates, and then I build on top of that. So that's a great resource, biggerpockets.com, if you guys want to check that out. Okay, I think that's done with all the questions. I'm gonna ask you some non-real estate related questions, and then we could kind of end it there because we're already at the hour, so I don't want to keep you too long. Let me see. What are your thoughts with this whole like coronavirus thing? And maybe as investors, how should we like prep ourselves or something?
Yeah. So with this whole coronavirus thing, it's not going away anytime soon. At least I think.
Yeah.
And even if it does go away, so say example that at the end of this month, at the end of April, they find a vaccine for it, right? And they everybody just goes back to work the next following day. there's still going to be a little bit of repercussion, but that'd be the best outcome of this.
Yeah.
But from what I'm thinking is, even if they allow everybody to go back to work, not everybody's going to go back to work right away, because we got to think about it. There's 10 million people that file for unemployment, and there's potentially even more than that, that didn't file for unemployment.
Yeah.
So even if half of those go back to work, and we have 5 million people still unemployed, some of those people have to have homes,
Yeah.
So potentially there's a big pool of people that might not be able to pay for their homes. And how is that going to affect, real estate? It's going to be major. It's going to be a major factor in determining what happens to the real estate market, And I think, with all the confusion and everything is going on, there's going to be a lot of evictions and foreclosures coming up.
Yeah.
So as real estate investors, we need to start preparing ourselves now to know what type of financings that is going to work when we meet those people that are in situations and we're trying to help them. So that's really what we need to do right now as investors.
Yeah. So go learn different type of financing strategy, like what we've been talking about today. So that's good. It's good that all the investors and friends and family that turned in for this discussion. Yeah, you guys learned something already. So, all right. Let me see. What else do you do other than real estate?
I'm a father, so that's my other full-time job.
Yeah.
I don't really have, like I said earlier, I used to have my hobby used to be riding motorcycles, but I don't have a motorcycle anymore. I don't think my wife will let me buy one. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm a father and I do real estate.
Didn't you just go for like a motorcycle ride like that a few months ago or something?
I don't
I
think
saw
so.
some video of you.
I'm not sure. Maybe it's an old video.
Oh, maybe. So do you still have you still have your bike, right?
No, I sold it. I sold it a few years ago.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Maybe you could get a virtual one, man.
Yeah. At least that way the practice won't hurt.
Yeah. So what else do you do for fun?
I don't know. I don't actually really do too much things for fun. Like I said, I work a lot. I have 3 different businesses, so those keep me all busy. Along with the kids. So yeah, there's really, I don't even have time to go fishing or hunting or doing anything like that. So yeah.
Well, I think all the videos that you put out, like you do all the real talk. Was it real talk, right?
Yeah, it was Real Talk. It's the current one is Real Talk.
And then you do the monthly meetups. I think you seem to have fun doing those videos. So do more
I
of
mean,
them.
I'm not a really good video person. That's why all my videos are like low grade and audio quality sucks and all those things. But I try.
It's okay. We're not everybody's like Chia Talks. So his production is good.
Yeah, he sent me. I told him to show me what kind of equipment he uses, and then I Google all that. I'm like, damn, that's too expensive for me.
Hey, maybe it might be a business expense for home sellers. So,
but you have to make money first before you can spend money.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Lastly, well, not lastly, but what are some book recommendations that you could recommend for us?
Yeah. So I like I think the book that I was gonna pick was I'm pretty sure everybody said it already, so I'm gonna pick something different. I like a lot of people don't like the guy. His name is Dan Lok, but the book FU Money.
Oh yeah.
Have you read it?
Yeah, FU Money.
Yeah, I don't like him either. He's really annoying. But I like the book. The what he talks about in the book, and like it's really just like a mental strategy.
Yeah.
How to get your mind in the mindset of having money and all that stuff. I really like that one because a lot of people, they need to change their mindset before they want to do something. You can't say that you want to be a millionaire and not have a millionaire's mindset.
Yeah. Dan Lok is interesting. The book is good. I like the book. The cover of the book is interesting too. Do you have other books or just that one?
Yeah, there's another book that I really like. It's called Never Split the Difference by Chris Watts. You read that one?
Yeah, he said not to use it on your wife and kids and family, but I used it on my wife, and it
Uh-huh.
worked.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Yeah, if you're looking for like negotiations, like how to
yeah,
negotiate with like buyers, sellers, business, life with you know,
yeah,
general, I think that's a pretty good book. It's about him being a FBI negotiator, but you can apply some of the mental in there to your regular negotiation. So I thought it was an interesting read.
yeah. That book is really good. I mean, I kind of learned about myself with that book because
Uh-huh.
like there's different ways that people think, and I always think that people think the same way as I do.
Hmm.
Um, and so just like learning how the way people think, makes you a better person and better listener. So
Yep, yep,
I
yep.
really like that book.
Hmm.
Well, yeah, that's really good. We're at the end of the hour already, but what are some of your last tips or thoughts? And then, I mean, I appreciate you coming on. You share a bunch of great info already. I always
Hmm.
take notes, so I'm gonna use some of the strategies that we've been
Yeah.
discussing.
Hmm.
But what are some tips and the final thoughts, and then we'll leave it at that for this discussion.
Yeah, tips are, right now, start learning as much as you can, but don't get stuck in learning. They call it
Yeah,
analysis paralysis. Get out there and actually do it. Because if you're able to execute deals right now in this market, then you should be able to do it in any market. Also, find a good mentor to help you.
yeah,
Find somebody that's already done it. That's what I tell my agents at Home Sellers here. We have a real estate investor mentorship program that I give to all my agents to teach them how to invest to get ready for the upcoming markets. So
yeah,
definitely find somebody to help you as well, um, and just don't be afraid to get out there and do it.
yeah.
That's really what I tell people.
Yeah, a lot of you guys keep asking for mentorship, and David and his team at Home Sellers, you have the mentorship program. So go be an agent and join his team over there,
Yeah.
and get the mentorship going, right? If people want to get a hold of you, how can they how can they reach out to you?
Yeah, they can get me on Facebook. I'm really fast at replying on there. Or you can call me. My personal cell phone is 651-323-7834. Or you can shoot me an email at david@homesellers.biz. So anyway, you feel better, you can contact me.
Okay, cool. Thanks, David. Thanks a lot for coming on. Thanks for sharing all the information that all the knowledge that you have with all of us. If you guys have more questions, reach out. Leave your comments below, or on the YouTube videos, and we'll get back to you guys as soon as we can. Okay.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you too.
Okay. Thanks, David. I'll see you, man. Stay safe.
Yep, you too.
All right. Later.